Thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. It's 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It is Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 49 degrees outside. Tommy Goff, your morning mayor. In the house, Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing, is in Vancouver, British Columbia. How you doing, man?
Well, I was almost on time.
You almost were. You're still in your jammies with the feet in them.
Excuse me. No, I haven't had time to clear my throat from my evening rest.
I see. All right. Well, get that done then.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
All right. Good job. This is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. We're happy to have you along with us. Thanks for taking us with you on your morning. And, well, it's time for the KMMS weather whine. Just wouldn't be this time of the morning if we didn't whine about the weather, huh?
Yes, a little Bordeaux this time of day is wonderful. It gets the blood moving.
Oh yeah, it does. Right? Yeah. Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, 72. We're looking for a high of 72 degrees today, but thunderstorms, about a 70% chance of rain. It's going to hit you on your commute home about 3 to 5 o'clock or so, and then it'll taper off as the evening goes on. 51 be the overnight low. Then the rain moves out. 78 on Thursday. 52 the overnight low. It'll be partly cloudy. A very little chance of precip, about a 1% chance. And then on Friday, 75 degrees. 51 will be the overnight low. It'll be partly cloudy. No real rain there either. Saturday looks pretty good as well. 74 degrees. 51 the overnight low. Partly cloudy. About a 2 or 3% chance of rain, but on Sunday, 74 and isolated thunderstorms. Again, you'll get them around noon on, and it's going to continue into Monday also. 74 will be the high on Monday. It'll taper off on Tuesday. 74 will be the high there. And then for your July 4th holiday, on the 3rd, we will have isolated thunderstorms throughout the area. But on Thursday, July 4th, 75, 50 the overnight low, mostly sunny, only a 20% chance of rain on that day. And then getting back into the 5th, it's also pretty nice there as well. So looking pretty good for your 4th of July fireworks and whatever. Shouldn't be much rain or anything going on, so it should be a pretty nice weekend for everybody. So there you go.
There you go.
All right. And let's look at temperatures around our area here as soon as my screen reloads here so I can get them to you. Let's see. Livingston right now is 45 degrees. Manhattan is 46. Three Forks is 46. And Gallatin Gateway is 47. Ennis is 45 degrees right now. Big Sky is 41. And at the airport over in Belgrade, it is 47 degrees and fair, and we are right at 49 degrees here in our lavishly appointed studios in downtown Bozeman, Montana, at 9 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. So there's your Gallatin and Park County weather for the day. Our poll question of the day, do you think people should be allowed to carry a gun in public? Do you think people should be able to carry a gun in public? So that's our poll question of the day. And we know in Montana you do have that right. Anywhere in the state you can carry a gun openly. So
that's right, openly though.
Openly, yeah. You can pack it.
Cannot be concealed. Yeah.
Yeah, you can strap it to your waist and
yeah.
Just wander around Walmart or anywhere else you want to go.
One of those amazing 6-shot Colts. You can just pack it long-barreled on the side of your leg.
That's right.
And go into the bar.
That's right, man. There we are.
Well, one of those big red cowboy bandanas and a hat and boots on to make it look real.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we had somebody that said we already have that right, and we do, but you got to remember that we stream to 25,000 people each month. And so on our cell phones, our smartphone app, AM 1450 KMMS, and, of course, online. So there are people listening to us from out of state. We get calls from all over the place. So
And around the world.
And around the world as well. So we want people to comment on that and see what's going on. Our poll question tomorrow, of course, very obvious. Who won the debate? So we'll have all the debate challengers up there, so you can vote for whoever you think won the first round of the Democratic debate. And we will, let's see, tonight you'll witness Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey, Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, former Representative Francis Robert O'Rourke of Texas, and right. Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, former Representative John Delaney of Maryland, Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, former Housing Director, or Secretary rather, Julian Castro, Representative Tim Ryan of Ohio, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, and Washington Governor Jay Inslee. So outside of Elizabeth Warren, nobody's known at all. Maybe Cory Booker.
The whining mayor got on, did he? I can't believe it.
Well, the whining mayor, Bill de Blasio. How did de Blasio make it and Bullock didn't?
That's right. And your crying governor didn't make it.
Didn't de Blasio have a rating or a poll rating of 0? No one wanted him. They don't even want him in New York. People don't want him to run.
Literally a polling of 0.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, on Thursday night, the big guns come out. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, Senator Kamala Harris of California, former Vice President Joe Biden, Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana, Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado, author Marianne Williamson, Representative Eric Swalwell of California, and Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, and entrepreneur Andrew Yang, and Governor John Hickenlooper of Colorado. So Thursday's obviously the night you want to watch, but we'll have polls on both. You can tell us who you thought won the debates.
Hickenbuckle will win Wednesday night, and Pocahontas will win tonight.
You think
Pocahontas will win tonight, and Hicklebottom will win, tomorrow night.
Okay, you think so?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wonder if any of these Democrats know that in 1894, the American Railway Union, led by Eugene Debs, called a general strike in sympathy with Pullman workers. I bet they don't know that.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
and the amazing thing is that that this was like the first situation with a union in the United States, and a lot of people don't realize that it's formed back in the 1800s, but was against the strike they called was against the Pullman Company. Now the Pullman Company was one of the Gilded Age's biggest stories, because this was a young man that took a look at the wooden train cars that were open, that were crossing the prairies to the west, and said, people with money would probably be prepared to pay a little bit more to travel in style. So he created the Pullman car.
Yep.
And those are the famous Pullman cars that you saw the late 1800s, early 1900s, where they were very exclusive with padding. They were glass windowed. They had stoves in them for the winter. They had private cars where you could have dining and a bed, and it was quite the thing.
It was a deal, man. It was a deal.
They called in the Army to get care of them.
Yeah. 1917, the first troops of the American Expeditionary Force arrived in France during World War I.
That's right. And First Brigade, the Rainbow Brigade of 2 million, guess where it came from? That Mexican border war that General Pershing was fighting with the not fighting, but defending the southern border with Mexico. And as we said, from 1845 to 1945, the U.S. Army was down there. And so, Woodrow Wilson said, I got to pick my most experienced general. Well, that was General J. Pershing. So off he went July 5th, 1917. Yeah. And the force was created. Didn't fight a battle until the summer of 1918. So they really were not in the war, but for 3-4 months.
Yeah.
So 2 million men, though. I mean, the Americans are great at this. Even in World War I, they got 2 million men across the ocean. I mean,
that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
No planes. You know, it's not like Bush in Kuwait. Where he commandeered. I think it was like 4,000 commercial planes that fly the military. Yeah, it's amazing.
We flew commercial back from Vietnam.
Yes, of course you did. Yeah. Under guidelines of the War Powers Act after World War II, the president was authorized to seize any commercial equipment necessary to fight a war.
There you are. 1919, the New York Daily News was first published. Not the New York Times, the New York Daily News.
Not the New York Times. Don't get these two confused.
Well, you can't because they're,
No, this was a group of businessmen that put this together to fight back against Mr. Hearst,
right?
Who was the baron of news in your country at the turn of the century, and perpetuated the concept of yellow journalism. Today, your president would call it fake news. Yellow journalism basically got the United States into the Spanish-American War, and with regards to Cuba and the Philippines and Puerto Rico, baby.
All right, there you are. Hey, from our text line 478-8298. Well, I certainly won't be participating in the poll tomorrow. I refuse to waste my precious time watching a bevy of morons trying to out-moron each other. Once they narrow down the idiocy, I may have to torture myself and see what ludicrous statements are made. At that point, it may become entertaining, and that's a signed post. Thank you very much for signing your post. Right. Put your money where your mouth is, folks. If you got a comment, tell us who you are. So, all right. All right, let's see. What else is going on? Charlie Chaplin, 1925. His comedy, The Gold Rush, premiered in Hollywood, one of the great silent stars of that era.
Amazing man, the tramp. He's one of these people that, well, he basically created Hollywood back at the turn of the century, 1919, after World War I. One of the founding owners of the United Artists, because at the time the only studios were the major studios, rather Metro-Goldwyn, United Artists, and so forth. They were pretty tough to work with.
Yep.
He wanted to do his own thing, and he did, and it was hugely successful. But because he was a short fellow, I think he was 4'10", 4'10".
He wasn't very big, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he had a particular interest in young women, and he married several. Had his last child at 92. I mean, seriously, or excuse me, 82. Excuse me.
Oh 82.
Well,
82, I can understand. 92. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And he left Hollywood shamed because he was accused of child molestation because he married or was involved with a younger girl.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just one of these things that the mores of yesterday are not the same as today.
Ain't that the truth? And they are. All right, we got to take care of our farmers, ranchers, and all those folks out there. And Noxatril warning, they're back. The guess it wouldn't leave. Noxatril returns, so be advised. We'll be right back. 33 minutes before the top of the hour. It's 26 minutes after the top of the hour. I don't know.
That's how a clock works.
I can't read the time. I can't read the time at all. 26 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, 33 minutes before 7. So, by advanced calculus.
I was going to say, your math is good.
Man, it's early and it's hump day. What's the rest of the week going to be like?
We didn't mention yesterday about how much we dislike Tuesday,
Oh, yeah, I know. Tuesday sucks. It's a horrible day. It's like a second Monday. Second Monday.
Yeah, two Mondays.
Let's see. Also, another signed text, 478-8298. Why buy Noxatril when you could just eat oats? There you are.
Oats will do it for you, baby.
Oats will do it. Let's have an oat commercial.
Yeah, and blueberries.
Blueberries, yeah, that's another one that'll help you out. Well, let's see. We're talking about 1945. The United Nations Charter was signed by 50 countries in San Francisco, the forerunner of the United Nations.
Yes, the Forerunner now has 193 parties.
It used to be the League of Nations, I guess, before it was the United Nations. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Woodrow Wilson's idea. That's right. And anyway, there's now 193 members. There is 193 countries in the world today. So the world has grown. Well, it hasn't grown, but I mean,
I don't think every country, not every country is a member of the UN.
There's 6 that aren't. That's right.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay.
That's right.
All right. Okay. 1948, the Berlin airlift began in earnest as the United States, Britain, and France began ferrying supplies to the isolated western sector of Berlin after the Soviet Union cut off land and water routes.
That's right. The Germans, or the Russians, started this on the 24th of June 1948. And it lasted to the 12th of May 1949. But the Americans started the Berlin airlift on the 26th of June 1948, which is sort of interesting because, that was during Harry Truman's term. And they flew in 1 year over 200,000 sorties in 1 year. 200,000.
Wow, that's a lot of flying.
That's like, what is that? That's 100 a day, right? That's like almost 100 a day. Anyway, 3.4 tons of supplies they flew in, and in the 12.9 tons of the food and
that's it's the bottom of the hour.
I can't say food and fuel at the same time. Boy, am I in trouble. Okay, bye folks. Have a nice day. Anyway, it was one of those beginning throws.
It is the bottom of the hour,
It was the beginning throw at the end of World War II of the Cold War with the Soviet Union. Well,
all right.
Stalin, right?
Hush. That's the bottom of the hour. We got to go.
I know.
All right. Hey, coming up at 7:30, we'll be talking with Kevin Maxwell, who is the clinical director and founder of Providence Mental Health. We'll be talking with him. Mike McCormick will be in at 8 o'clock, so we got a lot more to go. We got local news coming up next, so stay tuned because there's some changes coming to Bozeman yet again. 24 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 49 degrees outside. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shaman Tobin, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And news today, they're going to tear down the Ellen's marquee and put up a new one.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I know it's like it's so old. It's a classic, right?
Well, yeah, there are certain things you just don't. I've always said you're familiar with the Lewis and Clark sign on Main Street, right? Where the Lewis and Clark, a big spinning marquee sign, and the question is,
Lewis and Clark Trail.
Well, yeah. Well, the question is, do I want that sign or that kind of a sign at every business up and down Main Street? Of course I don't. I don't want a giant sign like that in front of Wendy's or, the laundromat across the street or, the snow load building or whatever. You wouldn't be able to see the sky you look down the thing and there's all these spinning signs. So I don't want that. But there are some things that were put up that are landmark kind of things. And I appreciate the fact that one of the reasons they're changing it, they want to make it as close as possible to how architect Fred Wilson originally designed the building in 1919. So, they're going to redo the front of the building and they're going to put up a new marquee. But I don't know, stained glass and ironwork, I don't know. That doesn't sound like the Ellen. That doesn't sound like 1919 to me. I don't know. Maybe there's a design that he originally had that they're gonna copy, but I don't know. Anyway.
Well, did anyone know Ellen?
I don't know. I don't know who Ellen was. It's probably a descendant of Ellen DeGeneres. I don't know. So
there you go.
Yeah.
A descendant of Ellen.
Now that the Ellen has finished some interior renovations and almost done with the exterior plans for future renovations, they're going to include the lobby, upgrading the seating, and redoing the fly space over the stage. So I guess we're going to have flying. I guess we could have Peter Pan and people flying around, whatever.
Well, they need that for live shows.
Yeah,
lifting lower backgrounds and so forth. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Cool stuff. It's theater magic, Tom. Come on.
All right. Well, we'll see how it looks. I don't know. It may be one of those things like the high school naming. Take that thing down. We hate it.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't say let's tear the whole thing down because we built a new theater in the high school.
Well, yeah. So, well, I don't know. I appreciate that Bozeman is trying to keep some of its culture intact. That we are, we still appreciate the past as much as we appreciate, the amenities that we have in town. So, but let's some things are sacred and need to be kept as they were or remade as they were.
And I performed in that theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, I did. As Thomas Jefferson.
Let's see. Bozeman City Commission has their heads in the clouds, turning Bozeman into a mini metropolis. And I guess that would be true because, another local story just to make sure that the texter is right on. The chairman, the vice chair, and another member of the Gallatin County Capital Improvements Program Committee have resigned over what they see as the commissioners' lack of communication about the planning for major projects. The Capital Improvements Program Committee includes one of the county commissioners and 9 members who review capital requests and provide recommendations to the commissioners on the request. They also help develop policies and plans related to long-term capital needs.
Wow, that Jeff is fast about getting a road open to the hospital. Yeah. He got people to resign over it.
Well, this is the county, not the state.
I'm trying to be humorous. It's early in the morning. Come on, the guy was from out of town, right?
Well, in the resignation letters, the 3 committee members said this year the commissioners haven't worked with them on major projects as they did in the past. So. But yeah, you're right. Jeff did get he got the trains to run on time, and he got the hospital road open. So he did well. So
he got it done.
Got it done. We got to take a quick break here to hear from politicians and other things, windows, and I don't know, iHeartMedia and other stuff. So stay tuned. We'll be back. 15 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 49 degrees outside. Tom Eagle, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Talman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And look at our text line, 478-8298. Without Jeff's one lone voice of sanity on the commission, that basket, that basket the Bozeman Commission is in will head even faster into the hell that is Libtardville. And again, another signed text from our dedicated listeners out there. So, well, I think that's probably right. So, yeah, who knows? We may just have 5 liberals after the next election on the city commission. So I don't know. That's scary. That would be scary. That's I don't know where we're going there, but according to a report released last week, a visitor spent $814,070,000 in Gallatin County in 2018, about $155 million more than they spent the year before. So pretty nice, yeah.
And do you see it? Like, where did they spend it?
Well, in most cases. In most counties, tourists spend the most on gas. In Gallatin County, that wasn't the case. Travelers spent the most on restaurants and bars and outfitters and guides.
Wow, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Lots of cowboy hats and boots.
Yep, the restaurant numbers are tied to hotel stays, and so the numbers were pretty impressive there. So we're pretty happy that we get some tourists. They just can't stay; they have to go home. we don't want them to move here, but they spend their money and get the hell out. That's what we want.
You can have anything you want. Just bring the money.
That's right. Bring the money. Don't screw up our little hamlet. Get the hell out when you don't move here.
You're not a hamlet now. You're a metropolis.
That's right. All right. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, look, we have a perfect example of what not to do in the growth of Bozeman.
Amen.
We can need to look what they did to Southern California and how they became a cement and glass state. I grew up there. I remember there was a river going through the San Fernando Valley. Because it flooded, they cemented the thing. So that gave the opportunity for us guys who built Soapbox cars to go up and down the wash because it was cemented. So let's do that. Let's just cement and glass everything.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah, then we have no more problem. We don't have no more problem of wildlife running out in the road.
Yeah.
Because they're all dead.
Grizzly bears are getting hit by trains. We got to do something.
Yeah, well, just cement everything and then they'll all die off.
Well, there you are. Yeah. Problem solved.
That's what. Hey, tell that guy from Canada. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Yeah, there you go. All right. I will tell him. Thank you. Thanks for the call. All right. What do you think, Shane? You think we should cement the whole place and glass it all in?
I guess. I don't know. I didn't hear the call, so I.
Oh,
I
you didn't hear? Don't you have your phone on?
Yeah, my phone's on fine. You didn't push the magic button.
Yeah, I did. You're on the phone.
Okay.
You should be.
Well, I'm not, but that's okay. Let's go.
Well, then dial back in.
Oh, okay.
If you're not on the phone, because my phone button's pushed, man, you're there. Well, let's see. In other news, the Billings Clinic. We were talking about that yesterday. They are ready to build their 54-acre campus here, and the city commission voted 5-0 Monday night to change the requirements and rebuild for them to do whatever they want to do out there, I guess. So they got a couple other things we've got to do yet. We've got to annex them into the city, and then they should be ready to go. So they're going to annex the land into the city and rezone the property. And they're going to have 97,000 square feet, and it'll cost about $40 million to put this baby up. And it's going to be out past the hotels out by Costco. Going to be out on that road out there by the Steak Place, the Outback, and some other places out there. So so it'll be
a busy road. Busy road.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a good access to more to Belgrade than going to the hospital, and some other people out in the West End will probably go there rather than going to the hospital, depending on what services they have and what services they offer. So anyway, we'll be right back with more, and I'll tell you what Jeff said about prices when Billings Clinic and the hospitals start competing. What he said yesterday, and when we come right back. 6 minutes before the top of the hour, it is Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 51 degrees outside. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, and going through some of the local news around the area. That over in Livingston, the Vista View Village residents, they want to plan to buy their own mobile home park over there, with the help of Neighborhood Works, which is a group that helps people buy these things so that developers don't come in and buy the area and kick everybody out and send them packing and then build something else there. So the folks have decided that they are going to go together and they are going to buy their mobile home park and create affordable housing there, and the lot rent they pay, of course, will go to pay off the loan for the property. So it sounds like a pretty good deal. This will be the 12th housing cooperative formed in Montana under the guidance of Neighbor Works. The 13th co-op is in the works in Havre. So kudos to them. Let's keep your home there. We saw what happened with Bridger trailer park out here many years ago. Everybody was thrown out, and the land just went vacant. Nobody ever went in and did anything with it. And now it's a park, or some sort of a park, I guess. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been out there, so I'm not sure what it is. Who knows? It could just be a wheat field for all I know. But
how many are left in Bozeman?
how many trailer parks?
Yeah.
Several, yeah.
Oh, there are like half a dozen?
They're probably, I would say pretty close to that, I would think.
Yeah.
There's at least 4 or 5 I can think of off the top of my head. You know.
And they have probably at least 50 to 100 homes on them, right?
Well, some do. There's a couple big ones. The one at, the one out on Gooch Hill, King Arthur, well over 100 there.
Yeah.
And 19th and Oak, there's got to be 100 at least in there, probably more than that. So those are the 2 largest. There's one across from Staples also. That runs almost the whole block there, or the whole road. So there's certainly some big ones here, and there's some opportunities here if people want to band together and save their park. They certainly could maybe contact this group if there is a sale pending. The big thing about some of these is will they be annexed into the city? And the trailer park at 19th and Oak is in the county. It's not in the city.
It's not in the city, yeah.
Yeah,
We talked about that,
so if they're annexed in, they could be hit with some major bills for curbs and sidewalks and sewer and water and the whole 9 yards, impact fees, who knows, So being able to buy this, but that won't save you from annexation. If the city wants to take you over, I guess they're going to do it.
And we know from Jeff, they're all in a school district of one kind of another.
Well, yeah, that's true. So, but that's another reason to watch who you vote for this commission. That if you're in a situation, you're on Western Drive, they're talking about that area out there, annexing that, and some of these other places. You need to be aware of. The city's coming after you, and if they do, that means you're gonna be getting a nice bill of not just 4 figures. It'll be 4 figures. It'll be 4 figures with a comma, not a period.
Yeah, that's right. This is not a pizza bill. This is a full meal bill.
Yeah, this isn't a pizza or a latte. This is big bucks.
Yeah,
so by all means, who you vote for, elections have consequences. And so if the city's going to come after you for their tax base so they can improve or increase their taxes and, hit you with impact fees and all kinds of things, hey, they love to spend money. So
especially yours because, so
let's see, from our text line, 478-8298, no more parks till city can show where all the, where the money goes for maintaining them and how much they are used. Just like our front yard. How many of us really use our yards? Well, yeah, except for the place for the dogs to run around, I don't use ours very much. So.
Well, the sprinkler uses your front yard.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I got to put the sprinklers out there because otherwise they'll come around and say, "Hey, your grass is brown. Do something." So anyway, all right, we got to duck out here, pay some bills, and. Coming up at 7:30, Kevin Maxwell will be in here. We're going to talk about mental health. If you've got someone in your family or a friend or somebody that maybe needs a little help, this is an affordable way to do it, and we'll be talking about that. Mike McCormick will join us at 8 o'clock. The markets are going everywhere. They set records, then they're going down, then they're going up. Who knows where they're going? So we'll talk to Mike about all of that stuff coming up at 8 o'clock. And so we got a lot more to go, so stay tuned, and we come back. 5 things you need to know. Thank you, Dan. 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 53 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane and Tom and Half Man, Half Amazing in Vancouver, and Tom Eagle, your morning mayor in the house. And, just a quick aside about Bullock and the flag, the rainbow flag, at flying it at the Capitol. I don't remember him doing this in years past when he wasn't running for president. So not exactly sure why all of a sudden. Has it just been in the back of the Capitol there, and they had to drag it out, dust it off, maybe send it to the dry cleaners, or before they could just rally it up there. So I don't know. Not a political statement. I'm sorry, Governor. That dog won't hunt.
No, I don't understand. My question is state flag still flying, or is it just the rainbow flag?
Well, we've got two flag poles. We've got the one flag pole with the American flag, and then we've got the missing in action flag under that, and then we've got another flag pole for the Montana flag. So we took yeah. Why not take the American flag down? I mean, just. Why not? Just take that one down.
Sure.
But let's keep the Montana flag up, and just But of course, that will only be seen as a political statement outside of Montana, because
that's right.
As I said, I don't remember that flag going up in past years, and the rainbow flags have been around for what? Well, ever since Obama, certainly mid Obama. So there you are. So.
Well, all minorities matter to the Democrats, as we know, right?
Well, I guess so, but I don't know. I still think, you got an American flag, you got a Montana flag. I think both of them deserve respect. If you want to throw up another flagpole, go for it. Yeah. Be my guest.
Well, and the other thing, doesn't that sort of contradict the conflict of state and not church and state, but being having a minority. Now, what about the, the motorcycle guys? They have a flag. Why shouldn't it be flown on a certain day?
Yeah, sure.
Like every minority now is going to want to fly their flag over, the capital of Montana.
What about Black Lives Matter? They should put a flag up. Let's put that one up,
There you go.
Yeah, let's do that. See what the callers have to say. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
This is Colonel Clink.
Yeah, what's up?
Tom, you and Shane are doing exactly what Mr. Bullock wants.
Yeah, we're publicitizing him.
That's right. And he's I don't understand why a governor would do it, would fly the gay flag over our state capital. Is the state of Montana gay, for Christ's sakes?
Well, that's why we think it's a political statement and not a honoring of whatever contribution the gay community brings to Montana.
Well, I kind of feel sorry for the gay community, too.
Well, they're being used as a pawn.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Exactly right.
So anyway, I'm just saying, I hate to say this, but I don't even think we should talk about it. It's so damn despicable to fly that on our capital that I don't think anybody should vote for Bullock.
No. Well, we talk about it if they flew your flag up there.
Well, how about yours? I got a crest flag, for my people from Ireland. Hell, I wonder if they'd fly mine.
Yeah. Well, Canada's our neighbor. We should have Canada flag flying at least on Canada Day or something like that, Yeah.
I go with that.
Well, we could talk about it, and that's just what he wants us to do, is to talk about it, which gives him more recognition, as you said. And I think it sucks. I think the governor sucks, and I'll tell him to his face.
Yeah.
It's if you have to stoop like that, to get this recognition, which he's not had. He hasn't had much recognition,
I was going to say the biggest minority we've got here are Indians, American Indians.
That's
where's
right.
where's honoring them with?
That's right.
We certainly aren't going to take the Montana flag down for a bunch of Indians. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, we just as well quit talking about it, Tom. Because
all right. Well, I was just going to mention it as an aside because it was on the news, and I'm not going to dwell on it. But
I'm not blaming you.
No, I know.
It's just what he wants.
Yeah.
You got to use a little psychology here, and you're talking about it, and it makes the program and stuff. But we're doing. I better shut up.
Well, we're just pointing it out that it's not an honoring of anything. It's a political statement because he's running for president. If he wasn't running for president, then he would have put the thing up every year, you know, and we could bitch about it every year.
Here's my feeling. I feel sorry for some of the people in the gay community. Some of them maybe are born that way. Maybe some of them aren't. But as the good Lord said, you know, you got to be good to your fellow man, and we are being good. But I really feel sorry for the gay community because, you know, some people can't help it. You got to look at it in a jillion different ways, but it's not right. And God, I better shut up or I'm going to get in trouble.
Well, no, I'll tell you the bottom line here, okay?
Okay.
He's in this for a retirement fund. We've gone through this, and the most exclusive minority in the Democratic Party with the most expendable income are the gays.
I know that. Mm-hmm.
That's why he's doing it, because they have expendable income to donate to his to his committee.
I understand all that.
That's how. Yeah, Tom got it right. It's just
okay, Shane.
All right, thanks.
You guys behave yourself today.
All right, we're trying.
Goodbye.
All right, see you later. All right. Well, in other news, before we get to the 5 things, Wayfair is having a big walkout of their employees because why? Wayfair is providing stuff for the kids at the border, and oh my God, we can't do that. We can't make a profit off the kids at the border, so we have to donate it to profits to a charity, or otherwise cancel the order because we just can't. We can't profit from the misery of others. And the CEO rightly said, "Hey, I got stockholders out here. We're doing this. It's a big deal. This is a big sale. So we're helping these people out. So get over it. You know." So I don't know. These just drives me crazy sometimes. These people are off the charts. Speaking of off the charts, Mueller's going to testify before the House committee on July 17th. So we, of course, will be covering that in great detail.
I can't believe he's doing it. And I can't believe the Democrats are doing this. It's going to just boomerang back in their face because the Americans are going to find out that within 30 days, within 2 weeks, he knew this was a hoax because he knew that dossier, that Steele dossier, wasn't real. And this is not a good thing. Yeah, because the big question is going to be, when did you know there was no collusion? And he knew right away. I mean, he just did.
Yeah. Well, I would think so, but anyway, we'll see what he says. He said, if I testify, I'm only testify on the report. Whatever's in the report, that's my testimony.
He'd still be around. He'd still be around except for Barr. I mean, with the weekend Barr went in on a Friday. By Monday morning, he called Mueller and said, "Get this done."
Yeah.
There's nothing. I've reviewed this for the last 24 hours. You got nothing here. I want this thing wrapped up. It's finished. You're done. Let's go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he'd still be around, spending millions of dollars.
Well, that's the case. And the other thing that's interesting is that I believe he's going to appear openly. He's not going to be behind closed doors. So these Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff and all these guys have to, they want him to address legitimate concerns about preserving the integrity of your work. Jeez.
Right.
Well, we'll see.
And what's with this legal comment? I'm only going to discuss what's in the 4 corners of my document. I mean, who comes up with a word?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Really?
That's what it is. So. Well, another battle in the House and the Senate. The House passed a $4.5 billion border aid package, which Trump has said he would probably veto, and waiting for the Senate to come back with theirs, which is going to have more stuff that Trump wants in it, I guess. But Nancy wants hers passed because they need a victory. They need something going into this debate. They need something going into the election. They got to have a victory here somewhere.
More importantly, they're looking really bad on TV because of not providing funding for the children at the border.
Well, I was going to say, vote was 230 to 195. It wasn't exactly a landslide vote in the House.
No, but the 195 were all Democrats voting against it. They passed it with the help of the Republicans.
Well, I know, yeah. That's why I say you need 218 to pass it, and they only got 230. So, yeah, there was a lot of rancor about it. But I don't know. Looking at what's going on at the border, you just can't take care of 400,000 people. I mean, what are you going to do with them? And you're calling
send them back.
Well, yeah, that too. But you're calling people off the checkpoints at the border. You're calling TSA agents out of airports to babysit these people.
I know.
Until they figure out what to do with them, or get them through the asylum process and either send them back to where they came from, or set them free with a court date. And guess what? You're free.
That's right.
Yeah. See you later.
And I really think that Trump isn't using FEMA on this issue because he doesn't want to draw or create a bigger magnet, right?
Well, that's the thing. And Mexico supposedly is sending people to the border to stop the flow. So I don't know if it's slowed down any or not, but we haven't heard 100,000 being captured in an evening or whatever anymore. Nope. But at least not for a couple of weeks.
But a senator from Mexico, announced on television that the government's sending 15,000 military to your border to, stop this, and another 2,000 to their southern border. So I think they're a bit concerned about Trump because nobody knows what he's willing to do, but he'll do anything to solve the problem.
Well, you're going to have, people making that kind of trip, particularly with kids, you're exposed to every kind of disease possible, and none of these people are probably immunized, if I could say that.
Oh, so you're suggesting quarantine, which we've talked about for a year.
Well, they're in quarantine now.
The other thing that's really bad is they're coming into the summer months, the hottest time of the year to be down there.
Well, yeah, that's the other. Yeah. In Texas, it's going to be in the 90s. It already is.
Yeah, that's right. And those baby rattlers are all starting to be born, and baby rattlers are more poisonous than mama rattlers.
Well, okay. I'm glad you passed that on. So everybody on the border will be happy to know that. We got to take a break. We'll be right back right after these important words. 22 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., Wednesday, June 26, 2019. I just remembered, Shane, I was teasing what Jeff said about Billings Clinic and another clinic coming to town and what happens when that... And he was saying, now I'm not saying anything against Billings Clinic or the Bozeman Health Hospital or anything like that. I'm just kind of relating a conversation Jeff and I had, that Jeff has had experience in this area, and was saying that many times the clinic will come in and initially they will only offer the profitable stuff, that they can do profitably. Right. Yeah. They start out with that, and generally they'll compete equally with whoever's there, because they don't want to come in with a low price and then, have to raise it later.
That's right.
So they're going to come in with probably the same pricing that the hospital has, and it'll be interesting to see with the Trump signing this transparency thing about where hospitals and clinics have to post their prices of procedures and things like that, or the doctors also, and how quickly that takes place. That could be months or could be years from now. Who knows? By the time they get that sorted out and done. Now, Medicare does have a price list that they'll pay for every procedure out there, I think, over the 20, 40 years, whatever Medicare's been around. They've refined that pretty well. So hospitals may work off of that pricing and
that's right.
Get it done. That'd be the easy way to do it. Just look at, a knee replacement's this, and a hangnail is that, and heart attack is this, and whatever. So,
well, and under the Affordable Care Act, HHS has to put together 10,000 pricing costs of all medical procedures in your country. So it does exist, the standard.
Yeah, the information is out there for hospitals and doctors and whatever to access, and it'll just be a matter of how quickly do they put these things up, and is that going to reduce prices. Theoretically, I guess if you know the cost between Billings Clinic and going to the hospital, you can see the cost of a knee replacement in one or the other, or a hangnail, or a,
That's right.
Baldness, whatever.
Well, and keep in mind that one of the reasons I think that the Billings or hospital putting this clinic in there is get people into the clinic to refer them to the Billings Hospital.
And that may be a possibility as well. So that that could be there. So, well, in other news, Seoul and South Korean President Moon Jae-in said Wednesday that the U.S. and North Korea officials have been holding behind-the-scenes talks to arrange a third summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. He didn't say if the talks were face-to-face or who participated, but complete denuclearization and a permanent peace regime on the peninsula are tasks that cannot be achieved overnight. So, sure they can. You just stop doing.
Yeah, of course they can.
Stop being stupid.
Yeah.
You don't need a nuclear weapon to defend yourself from South Korea. South Korea's not about to attack you, so just calm down.
Yeah, well, and calling him. Look, when he called him Little Rocket Man, the rocket stopped.
Yeah,
so did the testing. So,
yeah. Well, Trump is traveling to Japan for a G20 summit on Friday before heading to South Korea to meet with Moon. And earlier Wednesday, North Korea's foreign minister slammed the U.S., but not Trump, for having viciously slandered the capital of North Korea, whatever that is, Pyongyang, by suggesting sanctions will bring us to our knees. Well, I don't know about that, but anyway.
Well, that's because they're on their knees already, so he didn't want to.
Well, I was going to say you got a starving population, and the only people that are being fed is the largest standing army in the world. So I don't know, but anyway.
Yes, sir.
Let's see, from our text line, Trump's transparency is good. Now he should be transparent about his taxes. All politicians should be. Who cares? Who cares how much money he made? Jeez.
Well, he makes $400,000 a year. That's it.
Well, I can say that's it. Which tax return do you want to see? Do you want to see his personal tax return, or do you want to see the 104 tax returns from every business he owns?
Well, they're all going to gripe because he's given his salary as president to charities, which means he gets to write it off. So that's going to really upset the Democrats.
No, he's not. I don't think he's giving it to charity, but he's giving it to other agencies in the government.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not giving it to charity.
Okay.
I
wonder if that's a standard write-off if he does that.
I have no idea.
I don't either. I'm not a tax attorney, so don't know.
Yeah, me either. But I do know that, if you look at my tax return, you'll see that I'm damn near broke, because that's what I pay my CPA to show the IRS.
Yeah, that's right.
This is deductible. That's deductible. This is deferred payment. This is something else. This is profit is deferred to next year or whatever.
Yeah, when you're paying an accountant more to do your taxes than the taxes you pay, there's an issue.
I was going to say, yeah. I pay this guy so I don't have to pay more than he charges me. So
yeah, that's right.
That's why he's there. So if you think that, look, Trump only made X dollars, well, probably not.
Well, yeah, and that's why you invite him to your Thursday night poker game, because he's a good guy.
Well, go online, look at Romney's tax returns.
Oh boy!
Come on, that'll tell you all you need to know.
That's right.
Kennedy never released his. Why not? Why aren't we bitching about Kennedy's? And most of the presidents, up till Nixon, didn't release them until they were out of office.
And before we run out of time, I got to say this. San Francisco will ban e-cigarettes now, plus straws, but not hypodermic needles.
No,
they're laying all over the ground, all over their city. Wow.
That's right. Yep. And pooping on the street is okay. So help yourself.
Yeah. Help yourself. But don't smoke while you're doing it.
That's right. All right. Good for those guys. You gotta love that. All right. Let's see. We've got Kevin Maxwell is scheduled in here at 7:30. We're going to talk about mental health. Mike McCormick will join us at 8 o'clock. So we got a lot to do in the next hour and a half. So stay tuned, and we'll have some great info for you. So we'll be right back right after the news at the top of the hour. All right, welcome back, everyone. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 23 minutes for the top of the hour, 58 degrees outside. Shaman Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, my co-host, and in studio. We've got Kevin Maxwell is back for a return visit, Providence Mental Health.
Yes. Hi, Tom.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. As I mentioned to you off air, full disclosure, you are a sponsor of
That's correct.
Here, so we don't want to don't want to
But that's not a bad
mislead anybody. It's not a bad thing at all, but we want to make sure people know that you're here and let's talk a little bit about for the people who aren't familiar with what Providence Mental Health is. Let's talk about a little bit about you, and then because you're the founder of this. And the executive director and all of that. So let's kind of get the whole elevator pitch thing going.
Okay. Well, Providence Mental Health it's been created. It's opened in March of this year, and it's created to be a new mental health resource to step in where the nonprofits stop. Basically, we work with families, family systems. We have families up to 5 members of a family all at the same time, and we help them with their relationships and historical trauma, generational trauma, and those kinds of things to smooth out the future and improve the idea is to improve the next generation by engaging during this generation.
Yeah. One of the things we talked about before, and I want to bring it up again, is it's difficult for someone to tell someone they have an issue.
That's correct. There's a difference between mental illness, which is a neurodevelopmental. It's a brain issue, brain chemistry issue, or it can be caused by a traumatic brain injury or concussion trauma like we see with vets. Mental illness is different than mental health. Not everyone has. A very small percentage has an actual mental illness that needs to be diagnosed by a medication or that's going to be persistent and carrying on for a lifetime. Mental health is something we all have. And think about how you feel, or many people express the weather. When the weather changes, and I just get depressed that's a mental health. Yeah. When the sun's out, I feel better. And it's just that slight change. But then there's slight changes within families and the ebb and flow of life and how things take place, how things occur, and how we can cope at any given time.
Yeah, I know in winter, my wife's doctor said, you need to get one of those lights, that you're
Did you get one?
Yeah, yeah, we did. And,
how did it work?
It worked well. Yeah, she's feeling, she had more energy and whatever, but yeah, the dark days and the overcast just kind of makes you go, I don't want to do anything or
we can all get a little blue, can't we? But in the family system, when one part of the system is out of whack, let's maybe 2's out of whack. Maybe the kid's having a problem, one of the adults is having a problem, say a stress or at work, or it's been a chronic thing because they have family issues that come from maybe the in-laws or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. If a couple of those things are happening at the same time, the system is very out of balance. Yeah. And then after that, you start to see some other behaviors that occur, like within children. They don't know how to express their feelings. Maybe within a couple or a partnership, they don't necessarily always communicate exactly what's going on within inside of them to get relief.
And the other thing, I think the family dynamic, as kids grow up, they're bombarded with a whole lot of emotions as to fitting in or conflicts with brothers and sisters or any number of things like that, getting along with mom and dad, and the stresses that the mother and father are going through with work or bills or whatever, and they're not sure what to do or how to act or where to go, and they're just kind of learning on the job, so to speak.
That's right. Well, parents are busy being parents, and being an adult is
go play in your room. Don't bother me or something like that. It's not for the faint
of heart. No, being an adult is difficult. Being a parent, and also having a career, taking care of all the things that we have to take care of as grown-ups. Our children, on the other hand, they're going through a period of time as they come to 9, 10, 11, they start to separate from the family and they become individuals. That's that stage of life where they develop their their autonomy. But oftentimes the autonomy is really shaped by what our peers think. It begins to not be so much what the parents, but what the peers, and we push away a little bit from our parents, and we start to write our own narrative. So what we like to think about is maybe you or whomever you can think of somebody. What if a person like a person from Providence, or they enter into your life and they help you with your own internal narrative as far as sorting out what wacky things your parents might be doing, what their peers are doing, and how they think of themselves. That's the internal dialogue that we have. And if we have negative impressions about ourselves, that creates shame. And that creates we all know that we don't always talk to ourselves so well inside of our head.
Yeah, our self-talk's not always positive.
Right.
That's for sure.
But if you had somebody to travel with you, periodically or consistently throughout that time, depending on how much need there was, how might they help you reframe that comparison between what your parents tell you, what your peers are telling you, what social media is telling you as you travel through adolescence? Maybe, and we believe this, is that you'd have a better script, a better narrative in your mind, a better, more solid identity to know who you are as you go throughout that. And maybe you avoid some of the self-harm or crazy decisions you might have to make that might bring grief into your life.
There you go. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Kevin Maxwell. He is the clinical director and the founder of Providence Mental Health, and we're going to continue that conversation right after this. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everyone. It's 14 minutes before the top of the hour. We're talking with Kevin Maxwell, who is the clinical director and the founder of Providence Mental Health. It's providencemh.com is the website, providence.mh.com. Get it in a minute. And we want to talk about, you're going to have an open house for people that want to find out more about what you do and the services that might be available if they have someone maybe in their family or an acquaintance or somebody that, is having some challenges, not, as we talked about earlier, in need of medication or things like that, but just maybe under a lot of stress or
right, the natural
just life is hitting them pretty hard.
Aspects of life.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't stay in one place. Life moves around a lot, and it's pretty challenging for everybody. It's
life is what happens when you're making plans, right?
Yeah, exactly. While we're making our plans, and then we have these people that are in our lives, and they don't always cooperate with exactly what we think they should do, or we're not exactly doing what they think we should do, and so it can situations happen, and that's how we can resolve them, is getting together and talking to them. The open house actually is coming this Friday from 4 to 7. At 2246 Boot Hill Court, suite number 4. It's a chance for people to stop by and meet clinicians, just come in and have a casual conversation with somebody. There's going to be some other providers there that you would know from the nonprofits, the school systems, the police department, that kind of thing. Community support for the resources we're providing. And it's from 4 to 7. It's catered by Knife Bistro. It's just a great, check out the facility, meet clinicians. We have 11 of our 12 clinicians here now, plus myself, that are happy to answer any questions and just meet, kind of check it out. It's a good chance for a looky-loo to come in and take a look and see what's there.
Well, I think, because, as we mentioned before, this is kind of a difficult topic that, we see people that we know are uncomfortable in some way, but we feel we don't feel it's our place to kind of step in, but if we knew what kind of help was available or what options they might have, we might be more apt to suggest that, hey, maybe this would be helpful for you, or
absolutely,
somebody in the family, hey, let's all go together and talk to these folks. And
we currently have as many members of families, up to 5 members of a family coming in, like 3 kids, adolescents, and the parents. Yeah. And we see each one of them individually, so they get they each have their own confidential person.
They can whine and bitch and moan.
They can say what they need to say. Yeah. In the confidentiality of a one-on-one, and then we help them understand the different members of their families, because we collaborate across that. And if there's pinch points or points where their communication is stopped or resentment is built up, we go in and we remove that piece by getting them together and understanding, developing compassion and empathy for each other. Yeah.
It's well, as I say, it's a difficult thing for a lot of people to talk about. and admit in some cases, I don't want to admit that my spouse or husband is having issues, or, I don't know what to do or how to do it or whatever, how to communicate that to bring our family back to where they were, when we were.
Sometimes we get a sense that something's wrong. Sometimes it's more obvious. Between teenagers and parents, or adolescents and parents, we definitely see where the fork divides as far as the path. There's not so much one-mindedness. The teenagers got their ideas, the parents have their ideas, and the other parent has their ideas. Yeah. And we do know something's going on, but we're afraid to bring it up because it's messy. Doesn't feel good to have hard conversations. So Providence Mental Health helps us make those kind of conversations possible and helps alleviate the miscommunications. It doesn't need to remain painful. It makes sense, right? We get together, you and I have an issue, we talk about the issue, and we resolve it. And what we do is we bring it so it's not you and I butting heads about how we want to be right. We want our point to stand out more. We want recognition for our point. Yeah. But we develop compassion and empathy across those things, where I'm understanding exactly where you're coming from, you're seeing where I'm coming from, we're both heard, and then we can choose how to compromise or how to resolve that. We get better understanding for one another.
Yep. We've got to take another break. We're talking with Kevin Maxwell, the clinical director and founder of Providence Mental Health. ProvidenceMH.com is the website if you want to go over and take a look at that. You've got an open house coming up on
June 28th, this Friday.
Okay. This Friday.
You caught me there.
Well, I just got to keep you on your toes, We'll be right back with more with Kevin right after this. 5 minutes before the top of the hour. Welcome back, everyone. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 59 degrees outside. And KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And we're talking with Kevin Maxwell, who's the clinical director and founder of ProvidenceMentalHealth.com. And one of the things you mentioned to me off the air was we have kids that maybe go to the elementary schools in Four Corners or these smaller areas or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're shoved into the Bozeman High School with 1,000 kids, and quite a traumatic and different experience for them as to which clique do I get into, who do I associate with, who don't I associate with, and all of that. So that could be a traumatic experience that maybe the mom and dad don't notice. Mom and dad went through it, and they came out okay, so the kid will be okay. I think is that necessary to put them through that?
Right. I think we tend to repress how difficult that time was for ourselves, and we don't always relate when our teens go through it. But we see higher risk. I was talking to a woman the other day. Her son committed suicide at 16, and he came from a school that was out toward Four Corners, the middle school. Then he went to Bozeman High. And in this case, he didn't fall into pace with the rest of the class who'd gone to school from maybe elementary school to all the way up through middle school and then into high school. They all knew each other, and they didn't embrace necessarily somebody that's new from the outside. And we're all kind of like that, but nonetheless, there is a higher risk. People who relocate here, their children, their adolescents aren't embraced exactly. And we need to look out for the signs that somebody's actually struggling and stick out our hand. I know the high schools attempt to do a day where they have like an indoctrination day, but it'd be nicer if it was a little more broad spectrum and a little more involved, so that the kids could actually feel like they have a place, because it's a time of struggle. It's trying to figure out who you are. And if you feel social rejection, if you have any sort of risk for suicidality or high risk behaviors, it's going to make that more possible. And it's something we could actually avoid just by embracing one another a little bit more.
Yeah. Because some people are very friendly, outgoing, and meet people easily, and other people don't.
Yeah, that's
it's just the way it's not a bad thing. We're just made that way, I think, or our experiences put it that way, that we just, it's like your dog. If it doesn't socialize with other dogs on a regular basis, then it's, doesn't work very well.
That's so true. We like to remember that everyone that's, especially the kids and the families, they're doing the very best they can. And everybody's in the school system's doing the very, very best they can. But we can look out for risk factors. Yeah. that come up, and people that working in the school systems and mental health providers certainly, and family members, they know something's wrong, but maybe let's have a conversation about it and see exactly, identify the risk or double check to make sure the risk is whatever that is, because adolescence and childhood, they're very confusing times. It's confusing to be an adult. To have a career and be married. It's not like we understand how that's exactly going to go.
Yeah.
And it's unpredictable, and it can be hurtful. Those can be hurtful times and isolating times.
There you are. We got about a minute left. You've got an open house coming up this Friday. Where is it? Times and all of that we need to know. So
4 o'clock to 7 o'clock at 2246 Boot Hill Court. And it's going to be catered by Night Bistro.
What is Boot Hill Court near for people that may not be familiar with?
So 19th and Baxter, it's behind Goodwill and Fuel Fitness.
Okay. So back in that
and the Spring Hill Suites,
right
it's a new development. There's a Calvary Church back there. And
okay. All right. We know where that is, I think, probably pretty well. So, all right. Well, that's great. Well, we wish you the best with that open house. I hope people will take advantage of it. People that are having issues or challenges or whatever, come out and at least explore the opportunities that are there. Your costs are very reasonable.
Absolutely.
You have help for those that may be challenged monetarily.
Correct. We have family-friendly rates, and there's also all types of insurances. If you don't have a type of insurance, we'll try to get you signed up for a type of insurance
we'll
that
get
fits
you
your
set up
family's
with
needs.
that. Okay.
Right.
All right, great. Kevin Maxwell, thanks very much, and we hope you have a good turnout for the open house. And
thank you,
good
Tom.
to see you again, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks.
All right. We'll be back with Mike McCormick right after the news, so stay tuned for that. And we've got to explore these markets, man. They're going crazy, so we'll see what's going on there. With Shane will join us, of course, and we'll hash it out. We'll be back right after this. All right, thank you, Dan. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 61 degrees outside. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing, on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And Mike McCormick, Money Guru, is in the house. I want to be like Mike.
Well, thank you for that. It's nice to know I got one fan right across from me on the Soapbox of Wednesday morning. Happy Hump Day, everybody.
How you doing, Mike?
Excellent.
Glad to have you here. And Shane and I have been talking about the markets here the last couple of days because they're going crazy. As you know, we set a new record with the Dow, we set a new record with S&P, gold's going crazy, and then all of a sudden it all falls apart. What's up?
That's it hasn't really all fallen apart.
Well,
yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. We're
right.
We're up about 50 points on the Dow, and so I guess we're doing okay.
And it's one of those things, Tom, where a lot of people are expecting this thing to fall down. A lot of people are expecting a big pullback, and there's rational reasons for it all.
Yeah, people are very fearful of a recession in the making.
Well, exactly. And here's a quote that I was just reading in an article right here: is that it's easy to understand why so many Americans are pessimistic. There's a long shadow from the Great Recession, and people are still fearful of going back to that kind of a downturn. I mean, there's deep muscle memory in what we all went through. Mm-hmm. And when we see ourselves, how is this? It feels kind of similar to how it felt before everything went to heck in terms of property values, in terms of, everything only goes up and people only make more money and houses only get more expensive. At some point, we think it's got to stop. And here's the thing. If everybody's expecting it to happen, it's not going to happen. That's how the stock market works.
That's how it works, yeah. Whatever you fear.
It's like the opposite machine,
False evidence appearing real.
Right, sure, there might be some corrections. But, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the pundits, everybody's, still insists, okay, well, if we're down to 3% growth GDP, that's okay. Mm-hmm. And our inflation's extremely low. Yeah. And then we have some fundamentally disturbing things happening with interest rates, but it doesn't mean that consumers can't go out and get a short-term CD or money market account for 2% and then turn around and go buy a piece of property at still basically recordly low mortgage rates. Mm-hmm. So things are, yes, it's all expensive, But maybe this is what it's like in Switzerland.
Yeah.
You know, everything's expensive and they're doing fine.
I guess.
What's the big deal?
I guess so. Well, of course we still got the China tariff triggers looming. And,
Oh yeah, I mean we've got it's a long list of potential.
Yeah. Well, they're going to talk this Friday, I guess, at the G20.
The G20,
whatever. The other thing, what about the Fed? July, they're going to either do something or get off the pot.
They're going to do something or not do something.
Yeah,
that
right.
is for sure. Well, we've talked about this. The Fed, of course, controls the short-term interest rates, and from there's a curve based upon an auction of supply and demand where the long-term rates go. And this affects everything in the economy. The bond market's fundamentally 10 times bigger than the stock market, but it also affects your consumer loans. It affects your student loans. It affects your car loans, your mortgage loans, and for savers, it affects their bond returns. And so that's why it's so important out there. And it affects the price of the dollar. Right now, where the dollar's weakening, Shane's going to educate us a lot about that. And we're seeing gold behave more positively than it has in the past 5 years.
I was going to say it's been 12 for as long as I've been on the air, I think.
It's doing, and then we're also seeing Bitcoin come up. And we don't talk a lot about Bitcoin, but it hasn't gone anywhere. And it's over $12,000 again today.
Yeah.
So there are fascinating things to do, to do in terms of to talk about, what to do. Unfortunately, I think it's just carry on your business as normal. Save into your 401k, invest it. It's expensive for sure. Make sure you're diversified. Don't just go U.S. growth stocks. It's hard to see how U.S. growth stocks are going to continue to outperform. But just like I said, if everybody's expecting one thing to happen, that's usually what doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, the bond price is going down because the 10-year, probably 6-8 months ago, it was almost 3.
It was climbing up. It wasn't quite that much, but it was getting back. And so think about this: if you can get a 2% savings rate on short-term deposits, but for a 10-year, if you loan your money out for 10 years. There's additional cost there. There's additional risk there.
Sure.
You're getting paid less if you loan it out 10 years.
Well, I was going to say, at 2%, you're going to have $1 in taxes at least.
It's just one of those things that it can't persist for a long period of time. And so big money managers, big mortgage servicers, big credit issuers, insurance companies, everybody, they're making fundamental changes in their balance sheets right now because of this discrepancy in loaning out long is not profitable. Yeah. And so that is a structural change in our bond market that might be what ends up precipitating a pullback because
that's what I'm wondering is when the 10-year was up, that tells me that when you raise the yield, that's to attract money. That's to attract
it's an auction, supply and demand. So there's not enough demand to keep the rate down lower. Yeah. They have to offer a better rate for somebody to go and loan them that money.
Yeah. So now we're down. So that would indicate that
people are scared and they're piling money.
They're going somewhere else.
Well, it's the opposite. They're buying the 10-year.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, they're buying the 10-year.
Even though they're not getting a return, they get the safety for it. And this is big. This is big money stuff that we're talking about. This is not individual investors going out. Is that why
maybe some people are moving into the market, and that's why the market is going?
Well, there's only so many.
Is that the second chicken place, Shane, where people can go? If you're not chicken enough for the bonds, do you go into stocks? It's okay to talk.
Okay. I thought that the caller we had yesterday made a very interesting observation that Bitcoin's up 10% today, up $1,131 to $12,860 or whatever. And his observation was Iran, who's down from 4 million barrels a day of oil being shipped to around 500,000 barrels, and probably is taking Bitcoin because the Chinese are real big on Bitcoin. I'm sure Michael's agree with that. That the Chinese have gone into Bitcoin in a big way, so maybe they're buying the oil through, from Iran with Bitcoin to get around sanctions that the U.S. has, because everybody's trying to decide how hard Trump's going to play the Iran sanction card. As we've said a couple of weeks ago, the Ayatollah was kind enough to give everybody in Europe a sweat cover on their forehead when he said they're going to start their nuclear program again, because if he does, they break the treaty and Europe can walk away from him. But we'll see. All these things are very important.
Yeah. So
Indeed. Big things happening and plenty of news flow. The price of oil is an interesting one too, Shane. It's not responding the way it typically would with such a conflict. It's still. Is
that because we're oil independent or pretty close to it?
That's my only guess. Is that and the global outlook for growth is diminished. So the future demand's not anticipated to be there.
OPEC's not calling the shots on price anymore. Like they were.
Venezuela, certainly. The largest reserve in the world, is having production problems too with their lack of an economy.
Well, they've got they're kind of zeroed out.
So the old game book would say that oil should be going up, and that's where this, to your point about the chicken money, it would be saying, hey, we could be going into an inflationary time, but inflation is nowhere to be found.
No
nowhere.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. We're sitting here with a lot of problems, and we don't know what to do about them. So, what good are we?
What? Yeah, I'm not sure why you guys are listening to us. We don't have the answers.
We don't have an answer for any of this stuff. People aren't reacting like they're supposed to, Shane.
That's right. Well, I don't expect the Fed to raise rates until probably their September meeting on the 17th and 18th. And the reason I say that is because on that meeting, there's a summary of economic projections in a press conference by the chairs. So if they raise interest rates, it'll be during one of these meetings, which will either be September 17, 18, or December 10th and 11th. So still expect them to raise the rate.
Which I don't disagree with. As a trained economist, I'm a fan of this sort of concept, but the expectations are for 2 rate cuts this year now.
Yeah,
that's what flipped around. And so if the market doesn't get a rate cut at their next meeting in July, the market's going to throw a tantrum. It's going to say, "Wah!
Yeah,
you're pulling away our punch bowl."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I apologize. I have to correct myself. I mean that they will drop the rate a quarter point.
Okay. And I think that is more likely in terms of them not doing it in July. That would, assuming that trade conflict, tensions, other hazards have not come more for the forefront.
I agree. I think they'll wait and see what's going to happen with this China shakeout, and if Trump does apply the 25 tariffs, then a rate cut would cut into that tariff cost.
And Trump could be giving Powell an opportunity to show his independence.
That too.
If he escalates trade tensions, saying, "Well, now we need to cut." Powell's the chairman. He said, we're independent and we're not subject to short-term political things. And so he's going to have an opportunity to prove that, disappoint the markets, could be a sell-off, which I think would be a buying opportunity. If there was a 10% sell-off, I think that's a buying opportunity.
Yeah, me too.
It's a strong economy underneath all this. Valuations are stretched, but if we do a 10%, we'll get right back to a fair valuation. You'll be able to get in. But I tell you what, we've been talking about that for the past 3 months. Haven't seen it. So, it's been straight up since that December lows. So to some degree, if you've been sitting on cash, consider plugging your nose and going in with a third of it in a diversified way. And then in another month, if nothing's changed, you go in with the next third. Another month, you go in the next third, because you can't afford to stay in cash. Even though inflation's low, even though we're in a volatile market that could be moving rapidly, time just has a way of getting away from you, Tom. I've been around the sun enough to know.
Even if you can get more than 3 or 4%,
right,
you're ahead to not sit on cash.
And I think it's a great time to be looking for dividend-paying stocks. Don't get too sexy with it, because that's where the danger lurks. But if you can go and get a 3-4% stock paying you a 3 to 4% dividend, think about that in a few ways. One is that you're getting paid to take the ride.
Yeah.
It's coming to you as cash. If you buy an individual stock, the default setting is it comes to you as cash. If you buy a bond or a fund, the default setting is to reinvest it. I frequently will turn that off because I like getting paid to take the ride.
Right.
And then I also like the idea that if I put in $100 and then they give me a 4% dividend, they've given me $4 back. Well, I think maybe I only have $96 at risk now. So over time, you're reducing your risk. And you can choose then what to do with that cash. You can use it for income. You can use it for putting into Bitcoin or spending money on a wedding or whatever you want to do. But the dividend play is still alive, and there's still some great opportunities out there to sort of smooth things out for you.
All right. All right, we've got to take a quick break, Shane. We've got a caller waiting on the phone, so if you can handle them while we take this quick break, we'll be right back with more with Mike McCormick right after this. It is 21 minutes after the hour. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 62 degrees outside. We've got a caller waiting on the line. Caller, you are on with Mike McCormick, Tom, and Shane. What's up?
Good morning, everybody.
Hey.
So I want to bring up something that most people have never heard of, and that's the plunge protection team.
Okay.
And I'd like to. My opinion is that after Christmas, when we had the little downtick there, that probably would have been a crash if it wasn't for the plunge protection team. And I just wanted to see what Mike thought of that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the plunge protection team.
Okay, just for context, it was created or put together by the Washington Post in 1997, and it's basically a colloquial name giving to a working group that report to the president, which includes the Secretary of the Treasury, the Chairman of the Federal Reserve, Chairman of the Securities Exchange Commission, and the Chairman of the Commodities Futures Trade Commission. That's the team that meets with the president regularly about the market and the economy.
I just love that I get to learn things on this show. Thanks for calling in.
There you are.
Yeah.
But what they do, but it's actually from what I understand, it's a global thing. And whenever they think the markets are going down, they just put in orders for stocks and stuff, and they use federal money to buy stocks to correct the market. That's what I've been told.
No. Okay. Yeah, we're kind of at a loss here on the Shane.
I'm trying to bone up on it.
Maybe someone should research and call in.
Well, that's why he's here.
I can talk about it. I mean, the whole concept of it is to protect the market, obviously.
Yeah.
And yes, the Securities Exchange and the other, the Treasury Department. Mm-hmm. And the Commodities Future Commissioner, they can't do anything, but the Federal Reserve can. It can step in and now has the ability to purchase. But the way that the Federal Reserve acts is it buys debt from major banks, like government debt, puts it on its balance sheet, and then they have the cash to then go out and purchase stock in the market to stabilize it. And that's sort of how it works.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about
there we go. So that's why he's here, see? We all don't know. All of us don't know everything, but together, holy smokes, are we smart?
And then I'd like to ask Mike one specific stock question. What does he think of Toro?
The lawnmowers?
Yes, the lawnmowers.
I have a Toro snowblower. I'm invested in that.
There was a Toro energy thing for a bit too.
Yeah.
I apologize. I don't want to give individual stock advice.
You don't? Okay.
Not over the
I'm
air.
not looking for advice. I was just my mom worked there, and she ended up with about $500,000 in stock just from being a regular worker.
Wow.
And so I'm pretty sure Vanguard's their biggest holder. So
yeah.
I mean, it's been a really good stock.
Vanguard's the largest holder for most stocks simply because their funds are so enormous. It's interesting to note. Mm-hmm. And there's pluses and minuses associated with that. But feel free to give me a ring, and I'll give you more information and show you what my research says on individual stocks off air. But I can get back to that original question that you had about this idea about the plunge protection team. So there's concerns about the exchange-traded funds and the way that they work. These are new versions of mutual funds that I've adopted and are more efficient, I believe, and can be more effective, tax efficient, and so on. Well, there's concerns about how they might work during a downturn. And think about this: as a downturn happens, that means people are selling. People are selling all en masse. And on Christmas Eve, they were really selling aggressively. Lots of orders were coming in. And so when people are selling a fund, they're bringing these gift baskets back to the store they bought them at, and they're saying, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it. And so there's two choices. People can either have somebody out the back buying that gift basket as it is, or they have to open up the gift basket and take out the individual stocks and bonds and sell those individually also. And so the concern with these funds is that how is this going to work in a time of extreme stress, extreme selling? Would it have sort of really awkward and erroneous impacts on prices of individual stocks that are just getting thrown out with the bathwater kind of thing. And so we're seeing some studies come out about that Christmas Eve, because we haven't had, we haven't had this level of holding of these types of investments ever. And so there's not a whole lot of data on how they're handling stresses. And the data that I've seen shows that mostly these baskets were being purchased before they got disassembled into their individual components, which would be a secondary way that they would become redeemed. And not necessarily a worse way, but it's, how deep into the system did we have to get to redeem people their money? And the indications are that there were buyers there at these prices that were ready to take up other people's bad, what they wanted to get rid of. Yeah. Of course, they made money. The people they're buying and the people that sell it didn't make money. Who was it that was doing the buying? I think that I like to believe in an efficient marketplace. And yes, whether you're a member of the plunge protection team or you're just a wealthy, clever investor, there's opportunities to get in there. So it was interesting to watch the market function properly during that time.
Looking at Toro in 2009, it was about a $10 stock, and it's gone straight up the last 10 years. It's about 67.35 today, down a quarter.
And it's split either one or two times too.
Yeah, it's gone dramatically up, almost straight up, after being pretty level way back from the 90s. So yeah, it looks like they're on the right track to do something there. So
and they just bought Ditch Witch too.
Yeah, so it looks like they might be a stock to certainly look at. I can't recommend anything either because I'm clueless. But
and it's a sizable company. It's $2.5 billion in revenue. So I mean, it's not. You're not talking about a small corporation in the United States. I just want to make an observation too about ETFs. One of the interesting aspects of the market is the futures market, and as we've talked about in the last 8 years, the currency market has taken over as the largest equity market in the world. Futures aren't played as often as they used to be, but the interesting aspect of futures is you can actually write your own puts and calls now on the futures market as an individual. So it's a way of protecting the downside of a market because you can
there you go.
You can get out or you can get in. Yeah.
Gotta go. Hey, thanks for the call. Yeah, interesting perspective.
Good questions,
we like that. Yeah, great question. Yeah, thanks, Shane. And we come back. Maybe we need to talk a little bit about real estate because that's always a commodity here. We've got some expensive apartments going in out at Ferguson Farms with hammocks and pools and pizza pits and everything else.
Line up, right?
That's
downtown townhomes for $1 million.
That's right. That's what you're looking at.
There's opportunity out there.
So much for affordable housing, huh? All right. We'll be back with more with Tom and Shane and Mike McCormick following the news. So stay tuned. 23 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2019, 63 degrees outside. Looks like there might be a little sunshine out there. Mike McCormick in the house.
There is sunshine out there. I will confirm.
Shane Montalban's here as well.
Wildflowers are all over the place. It is a good time. Yeah. Summertime in Montana.
There you are.
Don't go on vacation.
Gotta love it.
It's a vacation right here.
Our average high is 81 today.
Our average high is 81. We're making it to 81 today?
degrees. Well, we're not going to get close to that.
Heck no.
No way.
Heck no.
Shane's up there basking in 90-degree weather in Vancouver, but I don't know. Anyway.
Overrated.
Real estate. We were going to talk about real estate a little bit.
I think we should. I mean, it's a probably broader interest than talking markets and Fed.
Well, if you own some, it is.
If you own some, or if you don't, you want to.
You want to.
And that, we'll start there. That's the bad news. Is if I recently read a study about population growth here that pointed out how much of our population growth is in the 30-year-old. They're not kids, but when you're 48, I suppose I get to refer to most people.
Yeah,
you don't really mean as kids. And for them, affordability is a real problem. That's a real problem. And just in a nutshell, I do encourage home ownership. I do if they're committed to staying here, absolutely. And I do suggest that they just move out away from the core until they find the price point they can. But get something you're happy with because it's not going to be a 2-year flip. We're not in that kind of market.
Nope.
It's going to be a 6-year hold. And in that 6 years, you need to improve your earning power. You need to show good credit. You need to make some smart financial decisions. And then you'll be able to step up and maybe keep that as a rental or probably have to sell it for the down payment for the next one.
Yeah.
So just in terms of that plan, don't be committed to, I just want to be downtown, a place so I can bike to work. Sorry. You're going to pay too much in rent. You won't be able to afford it. It's time to compromise. Yeah, I remember, driving in Subarus with duct tape and having roommates all the way up until I was late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that that's happening so much in this set. But flipping it over in terms of where our market is and where it might be going, we mentioned about how mortgages are still record lows. So affordability, as for the people that borrow, is extremely high. I mean, it's you can afford a lot more.
Right.
Compare that and pair that with our rising rents that we've had here, which have gone, forever it was $300 a bed. Now we're well over, I think, $600 a bed. So you've got a potential investment, a potentially viable investment. Well, I ran into a friend the other day who's half here, half somewhere else. And this friend has more money than many, and he's looking at getting a property here. And he said, we were looking at some stuff over so-and-so and so. And, I can rent that out. And we can make 3% on it. We can make a 3% return on the rent in and out, and then we'll get the capital appreciation. That's a sign of somebody that's really just wants to own real estate here. That's not a good investment. Real estate returns should project to be at least 5% in my mind, because when you run the numbers, you're putting your smiley face stamp on every one of those estimates. Oh, it'll be fully occupied all the time. Oh, I won't need to put a new roof on it.
Yeah.
Oh, my property taxes won't go up 15% like they just did.
Yeah.
You're putting all of these smiley things on it, which is a bias, and that's something we got to recognize. And so, this person can afford to not necessarily make money on it. Yeah, sure, great idea. And then another conversation I heard the other day, somebody saying, "Hey, everybody here is grumbling about how much the houses cost. Well, gosh, they should see what I just sold my home in Seattle for." Ha!
Yeah.
So we are still a good deal for a lot of people. And how's that going to change? Here's how I think it's going to change, is that take the Seattle example. The Seattle market is entirely propped up by the tech companies, which is entirely propping up a large portion of the entire economy. If stock market has a prolonged downturn of 20% or so, or just feels really scary for a long period of time, then we might have their liquidity in their places dry up. Their confidence, their investment accounts, their equity, all those things constricting, and that's going to keep them from being able to purchase the new townhomes that are being built for $1 million or whatever the heck is happening here, which will have a dramatic effect. Just like the last downturn, it wasn't just like a little creepy thing that just happened to some sectors of the market. It is a full trickle-down thing where everything locks up. Now, I don't expect this to be if you want to live here and you've been saving up money, you found a good deal, go for it, especially if you're borrowing, because I don't think you're going to get a 30-year mortgage at this rate ever again. But if you have patient money, real estate's no different than stocks right now. It's no different than any other investment. It's bid up. Everybody's got extra money. Make sure that you have some safe dry powder. You might have to hold on to it for 2 years to get it put to work. So make sure you're making 2% on it in the meantime.
Yeah. The other day we talked with an economist from the Job Service, and if you missed that interview, it's on our website at KMMS.
Great. Yeah, I'd like to listen to that.
Or AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone. Some reports from that: the most common age to move to Gallatin County is between 18 and 24. Come to the university, of course, is why that is coming. Most common demographic moving out is 20 to 29 with bachelor's degree, and the immigration patterns are consistent with people moving to Bozeman to attend college and leaving after they graduate to go somewhere else for better opportunity. Housing prices are high, but Gallatin County is not the only geographic area facing the cost of living constraint. Missoula, Flathead, and some of the other the Bend metropolitan area in Oregon and Seattle and Washington have similar median mortgage problems, just like we do here. So benefits of working in Bozeman include short commuting times, high rates of people working from home, and these benefits help with the work balance, or the life balance, I should say.
And I hear it's a good time to get a job, at least in the teenager sect. I've been hearing about summer jobs just being thrown to kids that can walk in and articulate their name clearly.
Well, from the same report, and there's a link to this report on that interview. Payroll jobs are growing quickly in Gallatin County at an average increase of 4.8 between 2012 and 2017. And the accommodation and food service, construction, and healthcare industries add the most jobs during that time. So,
which industries again?
The healthcare, food service, construction, healthcare are the big three.
Right.
Yes, there that where people are finding it. High tech industry, that is 60% of the jobs in the professional services industry are high tech, and 46% in the information industry, 12% in the manufacturing. So those are high tech jobs that are moving the.
Well, it seems like the trends are all continuing. I mean, everything's going up. Everything's getting expensive, and it's so long as it's more expensive somewhere else, and they have liquidity, things will be good. But I have had people that have been selling their homes, semi-retirement. They were, if you're eventually going to sell it, maybe now's the time you might want to look at it. You're not going to leave too much money on the table, I don't think. But what do I know?
Yeah.
I'm not a realtor. We should get a realtor on here.
We should do that. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're talking with Mike McCormick, Shane and Tobin on the line. Tom Eagle off your morning mayor. We'll be back right after this. A little Hawaiian music there for Mike.
Well, we'll give it Miami Vice, right?
That's right.
Beach music.
A little Miami Vice for you there.
Hey, I do want to finish up one little other tidbit on the real estate, if that's okay.
Go for it.
I was recently on location in Kauai.
Yes.
I recommend it. It was wonderful. Everything was for sale. I hadn't seen so many real estate signs since the recession here, I guess.
Okay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for Hawaii?
I asked, I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, they're selling and prices have never, ever been this high.
Yeah.
And that says something because Hawaii has had some booms and some busts.
Yeah.
But it's always been a tropical paradise. So in terms of indicators out there, what's going on in Aspen, what's going on in Hawaii, what's going on in Bend, Seattle, different things. It's kind of like the market. Yeah, it's expensive. We don't see a whole lot of ways it can get a lot more expensive, but we don't see it changing either.
Yeah.
That's sort of the gist.
Well, that's the thing, that the price, the market dictates what the price of homes
Supply and demand.
That's what it is.
It's a beautiful thing.
If you can, if you can afford a $400,000 or $500,000 home, then you're going to be here, and if you can't, you're going to be somewhere else.
Economists predicted was that at this point in the cycle, with this federal funds rate, we should have a much higher 10-year bond. We should have much higher mortgage rates.
Right.
Which a higher mortgage rate right there will squelch this housing boom.
Oh yeah.
Because the buyer doesn't care if it's expensive on the mortgage or expensive on the price. It doesn't matter. It's just expensive, right?
Yeah.
So their affordability is diminished.
So you get a little higher interest rate, you'll get a lower mortgage. It'll balance out.
Well, right. I mean,
because you won't be able to sell it with that
a higher
price.
Yeah, purchase price with a better mortgage is the same difference.
Exactly. Yeah,
just the money goes to a different person.
Yeah, it's scales on both sides.
Right.
You weight one down, the other goes the other way.
Exactly.
So that's the way it is. All right. We ran a little long on that last segment, so we got to get the Rush update in here. So we'll do that right now. Here's Rush. Welcome back, everyone. It is Wednesday, June 26th, and Shema Tobin on the line with me, Tom Eagle, your morning mayor, finishing up this edition of the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And Shane, the debates are tonight, so our poll question tomorrow will be who won. I don't know where you can find 2 hours of more comedy entertainment than the Democratic debate, so I would just have to, I don't know, I got to look at that, but... At any rate, hey, guess what? I have a challenge for our listeners out there. As you know, we keep a recording of all our shows and put them up online. And we have 173 episodes right now up online. And we are 28 downloads short of 1,000. 1,000 downloads of our show, just 28 short. And I challenge the people out there to put us over 1,000 before the 30th of June. Put us over 1,000. Go to KMMSAM.com or AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone and click on Tom and Shane's podcast and go over and check out our past episodes and download one of them. We only need 28 more downloads between now and the 30th to hit 1,000, and that's something I can point out when and if there's a decision made that, hey, somebody likes this show enough to download 1,000 of them. So go for it, okay? So get over to KMMSAM.com, Tom and Shane's podcast, either on your smartphone at KM or AM 1450 KMMS. Or KMMSAM.com and check it out. But you'll never miss a show, or any part of a show because we download them all. I usually have them up by 10 or 10:30 in the morning, so go for it.
And don't forget about the Facebook likes. Everybody.
Facebook likes too, yeah.
Yeah, we got to get those Facebook like numbers up too because this is about the 21st century in social media, and because we're global on the internet, if we can get more people interested in talking about us, then more people will go and sit at their computer at home and even listen to us, which is a huge deal.
That is a big deal. Yep, it is. 25,000 people a month listen to us, so we're online streaming.
The righteous Eagleman, props up to him because he's been behind all of this. The Twitter, the Facebook, downloading. I mean, it's all his magic, everyone. So
there you are. Yeah, we've almost doubled our Facebook likes from when you and I started here in November. So we can keep that going. Facebook.com/KMMSAM. Don't forget the AM. Facebook.com/KMMSAM.com. Just click the like buttons. All you got to do. You never have to go back there again, ever. If you don't want to.
It'll just come to you. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So we appreciate the support you guys have given us. Boy, 972 downloads. Thank you very much. That's pretty darn impressive. And we really appreciate you guys out there supporting Shane and myself and what we're trying to do here. And we can't tell you enough how important you are to us. So we like that. So by all means,
it's an opportunity to thank all the callers. I mean, that makes
that's true too. Sure, yeah, callers, listeners, everybody.
Because it's interesting how some topics result in like a dozen calls, and then we get general regular callers, which is always great because we like talking to the regular people because they're out there talking to people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, by all means. And our text line, too. We got people, if you're not comfortable being on the phone, you can text us or use our app chat, which is on the smartphone, AM 1450 KMMS. Right next to the listen button, you'll see the app chat. You can send an app to us directly and not miss any of the show. So
that's right. And as I said, it's the righteous Eagleman that has gotten this all happening, baby.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, you're. I don't know. I'm glad I have you to pat my back because I can't reach my back myself. So
just put your right hand over your left shoulder.
Oh, okay. That's how it's done?
That constitutes a back pat. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thanks to Kevin Maxwell for being here. Thanks for Mike McCormick being here. Thanks for Shane being here. Thanks to all the callers. Thanks to all the listeners out there, everybody. And thanks so much for being here with us, spending your morning with us, because time is the most important thing you have, and spending it with us means a lot. So say goodbye, Shane.
Say goodbye to you there, Mayor. Tomorrow's debate day.
Amen.
Be happy, be safe, everyone.
All right. All right, that does it for me and for Shane, and we will be back tomorrow morning. The debates are tonight, so our poll question tomorrow will be who won the debate? Who do you think, in your opinion, won? And if you're watching it, fine. If not, well, you can still vote. So anyway, all right, that does it. We'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.